everybody. Welcome to The Breakdown, episode 59. I am your not-so-humble host and talking hairdo, Ben. And this is my co-host, Blake, the resident Aggie Viking warlord. And we're going to start, man, like we always say, we have so much to talk about, so much to cover. We have many sports topics today. And we're going to go all the way from the land of sports to the largest sword of the medieval Renaissance, which I'll have you know that is called a montante.
Montante.
Or also known as a Zweihander.
Is that German?
Yeah, that's right.
That sounded German to me.
Yeah, so we're going to go there, but we're coming live from the Majestic Coffee Shop at the Neon Parrot Live Studios. You should check out the Travie Wavy podcast, which comes on live before ours. He had author and friend D. Grant Smith on. And
D. Grant.
I purchased a copy of his new book called The Resplendent Window. It's got an amazing looking cover. Lovely lady on the front. That's cool.
A good tattoo right on the chest.
That would be a cool tattoo. Yeah, look at that. So I am gonna probably read the back of this sucker here in a few minutes. You know,
Thank
but
God
we want to
because I don't know how to read.
We're gonna definitely plug this book. It looks great. I can't wait to read it.
Ben's gonna read it to me actually. So
that's right, because you have to read
so
to Blake.
I can be a part of it.
That's right. But is the Resplendent Window? You can purchase it at Amazon and get your own copy. I'm sure there are hard copies. And is there an audio version of, or like?
Not yet.
Okay, not an audio version yet.
Some of the stories are available in audio copy on my website, which is growthfarming.com.
Okay, growthfarming.com is where you can get some of these stories via audio, which I encourage everyone to do.
Nothing like a good audio book and drive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. That makes a drive so much better.
It's so great.
Gosh, you've probably listened to what, 100 books on audio?
At least. I listen to books every drive I make. I listen to a book or a podcast, depending on just kind of what mood I'm in. But I love audiobooks.
That's awesome.
Especially when you find like a good voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can actually read it in like a good way. Some people's voices, like the book's really good, but their voices kill it for me.
Right.
I'm like, I can't listen to you.
I'm watching this new Vietnam documentary on Apple TV.
Oh.
And it is narrated by Sir Ethan Hawkwing. Ethan Hawke, you know?
Yeah.
And he's got a great voice for that, for like a
Oh,
narrator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I call him Sir Hawkwing,
I was about to say,
do.
I was about to ask about that. Is there,
No backstory
has he
there.
been
It's
knighted?
just- No.
Knighted somehow?
Nah, I don't know why I went there, but I've always called him that. It's my thing with names. We have sad news today. Yesterday, Val Kilmer is passing.
God, that was terrible.
We're gonna get
we
in.
kind of expected it, though, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
he was in ill health for some time. He was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2014.
That's right.
Interesting. Like, I've got this vast treasure trove of knowledge about him as of the last couple of days doing some reading. And whenever he was diagnosed, one of his first girlfriends in Hollywood was Cher. And so she was like 15 years older than him.
I'm about to say she's a little bit older, right?
Yeah, she's like 80-something.
I'm about to say, I knew she was in the 80s. He's what, 60?
He's 65.
Yeah.
So that might have been like a 20-year age gap. I don't know. But anyway, whenever she found out that he was diagnosed with throat cancer, she basically came to the rescue and sent him to her doctors and all this stuff.
Wow.
Like all these years later after they were, you know, so that was a pretty cool story. But there's lots to get into about that, which we will. But we are going to start off with basketball because that is what we've had our breakdown March Madness bracket challenge, and it looks like my son is kind of in the lead right now.
Smoking everyone.
You know, I've got Houston to win it all.
Yeah, that's right. You went with Houston, didn't you?
But I think that they're going to get beat by Duke tonight.
Yeah,
wait,
so
that's not tonight. Sorry.
I don't know. That's Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah,
And that is
I've got Houston picked to take Duke out. I'm still of the mindset that Duke and Florida are going to get upset. I'm still in that mindset. It's probably not going to happen now that I'm in that mindset, but I just feel it.
I think this is like and I'm generally wrong about these takes too and these theories, but I kind of feel like it's destiny for Duke and Cooper Flag.
So?
And I think they're just gonna kick the crap out of everybody that they see because that's just what they've been doing.
That's why I'm going against them is because they've been winning so handedly.
Like they're gonna get tired, or
something's
got to give.
Check them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like Duke. Like I have nothing against Duke at all, ever.
Oh, I've got some fun. So you had mentioned one of your favorite NBA basketball players was Clyde the Glide Drexler.
Yes.
Well, funny story. Clyde Drexler went to University of Houston.
Yeah.
And at the same time as, well, maybe it wasn't the same exact time, but maybe it was.
Period.
Jim Nantz, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, he does the Masters, which is coming up, and he's done many Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Jim Nantz gave Clyde Drexler the nickname The Glide.
The Glide.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Cool.
Yeah. So Jim Nantz was on the Dan Patrick show this morning, which Dan Patrick is God to me essentially in the sports talk world. But Jim Nantz was on, and Jim Nantz went to Houston as well.
Yeah.
And so he is like shaking in his boots, like everything that Houston basketball is everything to him.
I want it to happen, man. I want it for him.
Yeah, so I'm like I said, I got Houston picked to beat Duke, but I don't know what's going to happen there. And then we have Florida versus Auburn. To me, that's the most interesting matchup of the Final Four.
So
is Florida versus Auburn.
I think Florida and Auburn is going to be the game. Who do you have in the women's? Did you even look at the women's?
I
like UConn, Texas is still in there, UCLA, and I can't forget that.
So I think last weekend they're down to
the Final Four now.
Okay, it is Final Four?
It is Final Four, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's UConn and...
Because TCU got beat by...
TCU lost.
Yeah, because that was kind of a Cinderella-ish thing.
I thought they may... I just didn't think they had the gas to get there. But they gave it their all.
Yeah, TCU...
Hats off to TCU.
Yeah, and then... we'll have to look and see who's in the women's. Because honestly, the women's tournament has been awesome.
It's been great. Have you watched
Yeah, I've been watching. I just
awesome.
haven't kept up with what team is whose and who's in and who's out. But whenever it's on ESPN, I'm watching that, man. It is awesome. And these chicks that I think her name's Paige Beckers. Let's see, women's. But she is incredible.
I don't know why my phone clicked off of it. I couldn't remember who the fourth team was.
So, yeah, I'm looking here. Okay. Final Four tomorrow, 8 p.m.
Oh, yeah, theirs is Friday. That's right.
We have number 1 Texas versus. Oops.
Nope.
Oh, that's your Elite Eight. Come on, man. Tomorrow. Okay. NCAA Women's Final Four, Texas versus South Carolina. 6 p.m.
Yeah.
UConn versus UCLA at 8 p.m.
That's right.
I'm going for UConn. I want them to win.
I love UConn.
Yeah, I want them to win.
UConn's women's team, once A&M goes out, I always switch right over to UConn women.
Oh, on some Aggie news. I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard this yet, but the Texas A&M men's basketball coach has left for Maryland.
Yeah.
But,
saw that.
I don't know
I
that that's...
this to say to you. Good riddance.
Good riddance.
Sir.
Yeah. I don't think that's a better job.
No, it's not.
Matter of fact, I think
it's
that's
the same thing. He's just...
Maryland doesn't have near the kind of money that A&M has for recruiting.
I think he wants out of the pressure.
Yeah,
because A&M is on fire for... They're trying to figure out how the heck do we get our college programs to where we're consistently in the runnings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is...
So, I think that's kind of crazy that that he would leave for Maryland. So, like you said, go kick rocks, dude, going to Maryland.
So, another interesting story for you. Have you looked at the women's, like their, oh God, how did I do that? I just had it. Anyways, each team only has 3 losses the whole year of the Final Four.
Really?
Pretty impressive. Like,
That is cool.
kind of a neat little story there in the old women's b-ball.
Absolutely. And I think something that's interesting that's happening in the world of college basketball is I think the day of the Cinderella story is over, at least in the men's.
Well, now with the money and UIL and all that, I think you're right.
Because like these mid-major colleges, they're not going to be able to compete with the big guys.
Well,
no way.
Here's the other deal, though. Here's the deal with that, though. Somebody else and I were talking about this. I don't remember where I was. Forgive me for not remembering who that was I talked to about this. But anyway, sorry, people. I'm trying to figure my tea out here.
Oh, yeah. Blake's having some tea today.
I'm trying something new. Trying to branch out my
Come
world.
get you some tea at the Majestic.
This is some
coffee
delicious
shop.
tea from Majestic Coffee Shop. I wish I would have asked the tea barista. Is that what they're called?
The barista.
Teaster?
They do everything.
The barista. What it was.
Yeah.
I just told him I need some energy, my friend.
Yeah, and there you go.
He made me some tea. Put
What
a
does it
couple.
taste like?
Couple little. I haven't tasted it yet. It burned my mouth. So I have no taste.
Still hot.
So
okay.
I don't know. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to have tea, it has to what's called steep
That's
a little
right.
bit. So let it cool down and steep a little bit.
That's right.
And our wonderful producer Sam was explaining to me all the ins and outs of tea earlier. So gonna have to definitely.
I think you just need to man up and
go
just
for it right
try
now.
the tea, man. Quit being a bitch.
Oh, that is lovely.
That is
It
lovely.
does taste pretty good.
Okay, so
So
you all know what time it is. It's time to get Big Frank on the line
Oh,
because
Big
our
Frank.
next topic is the United Football League,
I know
which
looking
went,
good.
went down last weekend. My team
Looking
sucks.
good for yours truly.
Blake and Big Frank's team did great. My team played not very well, and we lost. But we're going to get into that. And then I also want to pick Big Frank's brain about our regional, not our team, but our regional Dallas Cowboys and how I think this could be the worst season for the Dallas Cowboys that they've seen in maybe since I don't even know when. Because of some other factors. Because we love to bang on the Cowboys here because their owner's a complete idiot when it comes to football.
He is insane.
Yeah.
Because he keeps doing the same thing over and over and over, getting the same result, wondering why.
Yep. And I will say, it's pretty funny and it's entertaining as hell.
I mean, I've never cared for the Cowboys, so.
So here we go. We're going to get into a little Big Frank call. We're going to see what he's doing. See if he likes golf at all because the Masters is coming up. Oh my gosh. Best nap of your life.
Hello.
Hey, Big Frank, how we doing?
What's going on, Ben? How are you guys?
Oh, man. Well, I'm not doing great because apparently I picked the wrong favorite team in the UFL, but whatever. That's fine.
You know what? I got to tell you, I tried watching it, okay, and I'm a football fan. I don't know about you guys. I was interested to get your take. Did you stay with it or no?
No.
Okay, so it was like, so I recently tried to rewatch Highlander, which I still like it, but then it's like that to me. It's like, it was way cooler when I was younger and didn't understand, like, you know what I mean, things. So that's kind of how the UFL was to me.
You know, it was kind of
complete chaos.
The one game I was watching, the punter came out in the field before the game and tried to rile the crowd up, and you
Yes.
stand in. They had 1,000 people there, maybe 1,500. It felt like some of your high school games out in Texas. I think.
Yeah, and our high school games would put that to shame.
Yeah,
You know what
definitely.
I mean? Oh, dear.
And we had two of the games on here. I don't think they regional or national, or they do it national, but I think it would be Arlington one, and then there was another one followed it. If I watched, and I tried to stay with it as much as I could, but I watched like maybe 10 or 15 minutes of it, and then I turn it off, and then I'd go back to it, when you're channel surfing, because, the college basketball is still going on with the tournament and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I just couldn't get into it, and I love football, and I so much want it to be interesting, but I don't know. I don't know. You guys feel the same way on it or no?
I do. I think that this is like, it's like they just keep repackaging it and giving
Yeah.
us the same product.
Yeah, it didn't look any different than the XFL did.
Yeah, it looks the same as the XFL. It looks and they know that we are starving for football.
We gotta have something.
Correct. Yeah.
But I don't think we're big enough suckers though for this. I
No.
think at some point in the next 2 years they just give up on this whole deal.
I think so.
Yeah, I think they're kind of trying to watch it. None of the big, market teams are doing anything. I know Chicago's not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
I know, it's not that it's a big market, but Detroit, none of the LA out there. I don't even think New York has one. I
No.
think it's more like smaller marketplaces that don't have a lot of sports that would follow, that try to get into it. But just I don't know.
Well, I think it's Dallas's only hope at winning something. So that's why they're involved in it.
That's right. That's why you got Dallas in there.
To be honest with you, I know they said the game was on, but how did I couldn't even find anything, and maybe I didn't bother to look more. But did St. Louis win?
Yes, the Battlehawks won. Blake's Arlington team won.
Yes.
My San Antonio team lost. And then this Sunday, it is the Arlington versus Houston, and then your team and my team, San Antonio versus St. Louis, play.
I hope it's going to be on television so we can see it, because I couldn't find the St. Louis game. Again, they didn't.
Right.
They
Yeah, I
show
didn't.
it regionally. I think they just showed all the games throughout the country. Whoever picked them up.
Well, and I think that's the game worth watching, because I think the St. Louis team has they're a little
They're
heavier on
pretty
talent
good. They've got a lot of pretty good talent on there
than some of these other outfits. But there's only 8 teams in the whole league.
Yes.
And there's just not a lot of parity there. And I did order a San Antonio Brahma shirt though, because it looks cool. It was like $20 or something. But
some of the logos on them are pretty cool. And it's just like, you hope that the football kind of keeps up with it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Because I tell you what is fun to watch, to be honest, is the Canadian Football League. I actually like that.
Yeah.
Yes, when it's on, they show it. It's got the wider field. So you get a little bit more action. But I don't know if we're trying to think that it's not even good minor league, like small time college.
No.
Yeah.
Or like I'm saying, I mean, high school football even here, but like in Texas, I mean, that's just unbelievable. I mean, they don't even think they can rival with that, So I don't know. You hope it takes off. So
that's right. So to stay on the football topic, and then we want to get some basketball takes, but so this could, my opinion, this is just because the Dallas Cowboys is always a story, right? Well, have you heard of Jerry Jones trying to go around Micah Parsons' agent and do a deal with him? Have you heard of this?
I've heard a little bit about it that I hear, again, you don't get a lot of it because it's not, it's kind of like national, but it's not. I'm sure it plays more in there. But I did kind of hear that he just tried to talk to Micah by himself without his agent being involved in the whole deal.
I'm pretty sure that's not even legal in the league either.
I was about to say, is that even legal?
I don't think you can do that.
I'm not sure how all that works.
and
yeah. I don't know that, because I know some people represent themselves, or they've tried to.
Okay.
And that doesn't go very well. And then they get hooked up with, Drew Rosenhaus is obviously the big name. I mean, if you can get him, he's going to try to get as much money as he can for you. And then there's some other ones, but I mean, I heard him. He's just trying to talk. I know a lot of times they talk, but usually the player will say, "Look, my agent deals with that.
Yeah,
talk to them. Keep me out of it until I can get my final numbers."
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking that Jerry is going to give Micah Parsons the whole bag, and then they're going to have all their money with 3 players, and this could be the worst season that they've seen in decades upon decades. That's what I think.
They got some talent, but they always seem to have talent. And Dak reminds me of he's a good quarterback, but I don't know if you're ever going to get him on that top level. And he's had some injury issues. But you got to be able to pay your other players too. And it's just, you start throwing so much money around, it's like you got to be able to hit on the draft picks, especially the mid-round ones. So you know, I don't know. That's a tough one. He just doesn't seem like he's a very good. You know, it's one thing to be an owner and to be a meddling, but then he's also their GM.
Yeah.
And he's the one that makes all the decisions, and they haven't been the best. So that's one where you would hope somebody in the family would say, you know, Jared, let's just own the team and reap in the benefits, and let's just have somebody else run it. You know, I don't understand why, unless he's just a big ego guy.
That's
he
what
has
it
to have a
is.
say
I
in
I
anything,
I think
you know?
that's what it is, Frank. He hasn't been able to make it work, and his ego won't let him.
It's
You
like
know what
he
I mean?
can't- he
Like
can't
admit
admit
that
it.
he's not
Yeah.
the guy for that job. He needs to go be an owner and do that, and let somebody come in there to restructure that program to get him back winning.
And pretty soon here, unless he's got some sort of a crazy cryo chamber that we don't know about. I mean, he's 82 or 83 years old. Like, I mean,
Yeah. But isn't his kid like super involved in it too?
yes.
Doesn't he have his kid
Yeah,
that-
so Stephen Jones is his son.
And
that-
weren't you saying that he's the same?
He's the same cat.
Yeah.
Like, he's almost the same exact dude. And, like,
Yeah.
when Jerry's out of the picture or, you know, passed or whatever, like, I'm afraid this guy is going to be like, well, I'm the GM too. And then it's just like
I'm
Groundhog
the
Day.
captain now.
Yeah, I'm the captain now. Yeah.
Steering this ship right to the bottom like we've been doing for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get a coach any worth his weight in salt if they have to deal with this guy, because it's like, can you imagine trying to set up a draft board with this guy in the room?
Oh, my
that would
God.
be
Literally,
terrible.
You know, he might have played ball, but he doesn't know anything. And then, you know, you got 4 or 5 guys that want to take somebody, because you've heard these stories before. And he said, no, we want to take this guy. We want to take this guy. You know, and then he do good. I thought Mike McCarthy was a good coach, and he had a pretty, you know, decent record with it. But, I mean, how could you, after a while, you just quit working with the guy? That's what happened with Jimmy Johnson.
Yep, he just,
know, all those years, they just said, hey, forget about it. I can't work with this guy. He's too much. He doesn't know anything about football, really, to be involved with it. So,
exactly.
yeah.
So, on good coaches and excitement, I watched the press conference with the Chicago Bears' new head coach. What'd you think?
Yeah, he's saying all the right things,
Right.
and you know, his record, you know, precedes him. Everybody's pretty excited about it around here. But you know, as going back to last year, we won the preseason too. We were all the hype and the talk because we had Caleb Williams, and then we drafted Rome, and supposedly, you know, they realized, I think like half to 3/4 of the people around here knew that, you know, you might want to just start off with a new coach and a new system if you're gonna, you know, get Caleb. And that's the thing that scares me about the whole thing is they tried to run it back. Then they realized after a year that, you know something, we need to bring in an offensive-minded head coach and a good coordinator that has a plan to help this kid develop to what he can be, you know, because obviously the talent is there. So they kind of like had a wasted year on it. So now they've kind of regrouped and went back to what they should have done last year. Is after that debacle, they should have just fired Eberflus and started the whole, you know, the whole thing over again. But, you know, he's good defense, you know, whatever. And, well, you know, we're going to, you know, get Shane Waldron in here and, you know, we're going to get this thing going. And it was a total disaster, you know.
Seriously.
So they kind of regrouped and they threw money around to it this year. And, they went out. The big talk around here too is also one of the assistants that they hired is Eric Bellamy. He used to be the Kansas City guy, running back coach, who's a no-nonsense guy either.
Oh, that's a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got him on the staff now too. Dennis Allen is a defensive coordinator. He's got a good, you know, resume, but everything is focused on trying to help this offense get on track and help Caleb Williams, you know, be the quarterback that he can be. So, you know, right now it's it's all good. You know, the big thing is on the draft down here, because they've addressed, I do like the moves that they did in free agency. They got, you know, Tooney, the guard from Kansas City. The guy that they got from the Rams, his name escapes me right now, but he's kind of like an injury guy, but he used to be with Johnson. And then the center, we got Dahlman there from Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're really starting to address it. So now the talk in the draft is not necessarily have to kind of reach and get like the best offensive lineman if he's not, grayed out that high, or defensive lineman, that they can go for the best position available. But there's also talk now of them trading down to acquire more picks, because they say this draft is really heavy in like the top blue chippers. There's only like 9 or 10 of them, supposedly, that the experts say that grade out like you really high, you can't miss. Whereas, like running backs and tight ends, they said you can get a really decent one in the 3rd, 4th rounds, low 2nd rounds. So it becomes more of, who's willing to pay more to move up to get a guy that they think they can't miss, and then trade down and then get another pick or two, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, down here, because that's the talk now is like, well, now we don't have to go after reach if somebody we think is going to be a top lineman doesn't kind of like grade out into that top 10 pick, because we picked 10, that they can afford to kind of, look to see whoever they think is the best player available that grades out high, and not draft for position. So
Right.
that's what we're hearing.
Absolutely. I've decided for my Raiders that I want Shedeur Sanders. I just want the kid. I want something new.
Why?
I just because we don't have anything. If we don't,
I guess that's true.
because we skipped on Michael Penix Jr. last year.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like we got to do something. And if he's a bust, okay, whatever.
And the thing about that is, I think if you draft Sanders and you want to play him right away, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's gonna be bad.
that's what I think.
Well, and I think maybe that's why we got Geno Smith, right?
Correct.
Maybe.
It's the same thing that the Giants are talking about. Now, I don't know if you guys pick higher than the Giants, but I'm hearing the Giants at number 3 are enamored with that, because they went out and got Russell Wilson. They signed him as free agent, and then he's going to be their starter a year, maybe 2, probably not, because he's only doing, I think, 1-year contracts.
Yeah.
They're talking about bringing him in and having him, do that same thing. So I think for Sanders, that's the ideal place to go to, where he can sit and learn.
Right.
Maybe have a package or two where you can bring him in, where he could use his legs and stuff like that if you got a big lead. But
I think there was 3 or 4 ESPN hosts that had him picked in their mock draft to go to the Giants for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was
I've been
hearing
following
around
those
here,
mock
so I know
drafts a
the
lot
Raiders
with
pick a
those
little bit
guys.
further down than
Yeah.
that.
Right.
But you might have to make, unless you want to throw a trade on, for that, or maybe they're saying this year's class for quarterbacks is not the best, but they said next year's is. So maybe they're trying to do something for next year too. I think Geno Smith is only a stopgap.
Absolutely.
A year or 2.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better ones out there. That's going to be okay. But I think that's what they're doing. So
Heck yeah.
we'll see.
All right, so let's get into basketball. We got Final Four coming up, San Antonio, Texas.
Yes.
All right,
Listen.
what's your picks?
Well, I'm hot now. I'm in one out over here. The bracket that we got, first place is like about $1,200 or something like that. It's like $50 buy-in. I have all of the Final Four teams in, and I didn't know I was doing this when I was picking them. I don't really pay much attention to like the seeds per se, like 1 to 3 sometimes, and I didn't realize I was picking all the ones. But I have Duke and Houston in the final, and I have Auburn and Florida.
Really?
But I have Florida winning, I have Duke winning, and I have Duke beating Florida for the championship. So,
man, what if you stand to win your bracket here?
Yeah, I do. I've got
do
there's
it.
another guy that has Duke in it, okay, but he has Auburn in his final. So if I get Florida in there, and even if we both have Duke, I win, because it's whoever the other team that they're playing. See, there's like 4 or 5 guys that have Duke winning it when you get to the final game, but sometimes, because like if everybody's got Duke, well, it's who they're playing.
Right.
That's the key. So if Florida gets in there and Duke wins, I'm good. If Auburn gets in there, even though Duke wins and I have them, I lose out to this one guy because he's got Auburn in the final game. other than me. I'm sorry I had to go against your Texas Tech guys, but I had Florida. But that was the game to watch, though, because as we were watching it, I got ticked off, and I shut it off, and I said, wow, Florida's going to blow this thing.
Yeah.
And then my son texted me and says, no, turn it back on, Dad. Check it out. And they're coming back, and it's like, holy cow. I thought for sure I was done there because if Tech got in, my bracket's totally blown, even if Duke wins, because like I say, Florida's not in there. So that was my shot. I had to get all my Final Four teams in there, and it worked out good. But I thought for sure Tech was going to beat them.
Yeah, that was a hard one. That was a hard one for all of us around here to swallow. But hey, it was. We're happy to get that far. You know,
I was happy for y'all to get that far too.
Yeah.
Keys on the thing. Okay. Yeah. It was it was kind of wild. So, but that was about the only interesting game out of the rest of them were kind of all blowouts.
Yeah. And don't sleep on the ladies' Final Four on Friday. I've been catching a little bit of the women's games, and they're really good.
I love watching them. The women play harder to me.
Yeah, the women play really hard.
Sorry, dudes, but we got to step it up.
Correct, and I think USC had a chance, but I was watching when that Juju Watkins went down, and you knew.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
You knew that was a bad one.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I think that USC Connecticut UConn game would have been a lot closer if she was there.
Definitely,
but without
definitely.
her being there, I think UConn is the toast of the town now. As long as Juju's not there.
That's what I've got. I've got picked as UConn.
Yeah,
I've had them picked all year, or all season, or all bracket since the beginning.
You know.
Yep.
So.
Well, cool.
It was funny though when I was watching the Auburn game and they were playing Michigan State. You know that guy? He dislocated his elbow there and he went out. Were you watching that?
Yes.
Come back in, and we're rooting for him. He goes, "Oh yeah, you got to." And then as soon as this game is over, my son and I were saying, "I hope he's got a blown elbow. He can't play anymore." You don't want to wish stuff, man. But it's like, "Oh yeah, come on back in, help him win." And now I need him to lose. So
Yeah.
I hope he can't play. So.
That's awesome.
Funny how that works out. So.
That's so good, man. Well, I guess we'll see what all shakes out this weekend, and then we got. I don't know. Are you a golf? Like, I know a lot of people watch the Masters that aren't like super big golf connoisseurs, but like I like to watch.
I'm a huge golf fan. I like to play golf, and I also like to watch it. And the Masters is a.
Oh, did we lose you, Big Frank? Yeah, I think he's there. I think he might, maybe. Let's see here.
I can hear him shuffling around or something.
We might have. Man, he was gonna give us some. All right, folks, we're gonna give Big Frank a couple more minutes here. Get him back on. I'm sure it's fine. Because I want to hear about the Masters.
I want to know.
Hi, you've reached Frank Lubeck.
Leave him a voicemail.
Yeah, Big Frank. Okay, so that was, yeah. So we're gonna have him. He'll call back in just a minute. I have no doubt. But that's pretty crazy that he picked all the.
That's nuts. Like I said, there's some people that had picked safe brackets that are looking good right now.
Right.
I never do because I'm like, screw the safety. No way these guys are gonna win out, and they do.
For real. Well, if Big Frank gets back to us, we'll get him right back on to just discuss the Masters. And that is a tasty little thing to gamble on if you're into that. Because there's, here again, like NASCAR, with golf, there's the odds. The odds are crazy as far as, you know, if you pick a winner. But, and also, as it comes to NASCAR, this Sunday is the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway.
That's right.
And the Darlington track, usually a lot of crazy stuff happens. Last weekend on Saturday, so they have like what they call the youngsters race on Saturdays, and these are the up and comers that are going to be coming up into the ranks of the highest of the racers. And this one guy, I guess they call it dumping him or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a guy in front of him, and he just basically, like a police cruiser maneuver, like hit the back end of his car kind of on the left side and just spun him out on the last lap and then won. And then this is why you watch NASCAR.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the race, dude, cameras are following him. Guy's out of the car. He's going to his garage, and it is like fisticuffs, man. They're throwing punches.
Get after it a lot.
And basically both of their pit crews were getting into it, and it was just a freaking brawl. And I was like, this is awesome.
It's like, as the pit crew, I feel like that's like an unspoken thing. If
Yeah.
your driver goes, you better be right on his heels. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You better be on his heels to throw down.
That's
with
right.
The enemy.
That's right, dude. So that's hilarious. And of course, that was the race that I didn't watch because it was on Saturday, and I never watched those. Right. So, like I said, I've really breakdown viewers and listeners. I am becoming a NASCAR fan. I know it's kind of goofy, can be boring, but I'm starting to learn how it works, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so
speaking of Saturday, Ben, breakdown listeners, if anyone knows this, I need this information immediately. I heard a rumor that Ice House here in town is having a crawfish bowl
this Saturday.
Is that true? Is that true, Sammy? Oh well. Think I just found where I'm going for lunch on Saturday.
Wow.
Potential rain, but crawfish boil, live music in the street.
Nice.
Vendors.
The whole shebang.
So,
There's a raffle too. Ted spoke this morning at the downtown association.
Did he? Okay, I haven't caught that.
Let me see if this still works. Oh, hey, there we go.
There we go.
There it is.
So Ted spoke this morning at the downtown association meeting about it a little bit. So they're doing some kind of raffle giveaway. They had a lot of their vendors for Ice House. Like the speaker company. I think it's Turtlebox, and their cooler company. I forget. Is that Nordic, maybe?
Nordic, maybe something like that.
Anywho, they got a lot of stuff donated that they're going to be giving away for
really cool
raffle tickets type stuff. Crawfish boil, live music.
Man, I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's great.
They're doing a lot of. He said also that they altered a lot of their menu to be Cajun themed.
Oh.
So like some kind of mac and cheese. It was Cajun. So I guess they're just going to be dumping a lot of those mud bugs. And
Lord help
pretty
me.
much everything.
Oh, that's
going to be
exciting.
fun.
Man, that's gonna
Come
be
get some mud bugs this Saturday. Don't let the rain scare you away.
All right.
I hope it rains, honestly,
Yeah.
selfishly, because then more for us.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
don't mind the rain.
Well, we got to tell Bradford about this because.
Or we could not.
And
I'm
then
just kidding. I'm just kidding. More for us, Ben.
more
Dang
crawfish
it.
for us.
No, we have to definitely tell Brad. That's the only way we're getting him into town.
So, okay. So, crawfish boil at.
Sorry about that, everyone. You said Saturday and it triggered me.
That's right.
Little
Speaking of rain.
Local news for us.
Speaking of rain, I had a professional homeowner win. So, yesterday, late afternoon, I was like, because like the grass here in Abilene isn't still mostly dormant, but all the weeds are out.
Yeah.
So I mow everything.
Yeah.
Mostly dirt. Just look like I've been in a freaking haboob out there in the Saudi Arabia, right? And then sure enough, what happens tonight? It rains.
Yeah.
Last night.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like victory. I'm like just a puppy dog staring out the window this morning.
Yeah.
Just happy as
Got
as
your
a
coffee.
pig and shit, man.
This is it.
So, okay, let's get to. Oh, another kind of fun thing is we trained the state trooper last week that I had mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've really got jujitsu in and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was pretty tough.
Pretty tough on you.
Yeah, I think I pulled some things out of socket maybe. Not too fun.
Definitely.
But it was good. It was a success. And now he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna bring another guy next week." And I'm like, "Oh no, this is great, but this is gonna hurt." So, anyways, I'm kind of getting ready. He's got his I guess 1 week out of every month they have to go to the Capitol.
Yeah.
And do security.
Yeah, that's like a whole thing right now. The Capitol and the border, I think they're still kind of everybody's swinging around.
Yeah.
I know the Capitol you have to do duty there. I think it is once a month or something like that. And then down at the border, I think you go every so often. They rotate people around.
Those dudes put some miles on vehicles.
Oh, dude.
They got to just.
I've done probably 10 or 11 ride-alongs with different troopers here around the surrounding counties and areas and all that. And golly, that's all it is. I mean, you're just driving around. And a lot of people, I know that folks at home are like, oh, man, he pulled me over for a stupid thing.
Yeah.
The stupid thing they pull you over for is how they make 90% of their arrests, like big-time arrests. Like, I'm talking about catching child traffickers, catching, whoever, catching people with big-time warrants, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They caught a family member of mine for a warrant, which, thank God, going to buy that sheriff deputy a steak dinner for finally getting that knucklehead off the road. But anyways, that's how they make all those arrests.
Yeah.
Is stupid little things,
and
like a blinker or a tail light or, the license plate light, like little things like that.
And the other thing about that, too, is they're on their own.
They're by themselves.
No
I'm happy to see one going through your training. I think that needs to be pushed in all areas of law enforcement, first responder, nurses, like these people that are having to deal with some crazy folks need to learn how to defend themselves.
Absolutely.
In a hand-to-hand situation. Everyone's like, well, I got a gun.
Yeah.
That don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
That don't mean nothing when fear sets in and all these other things sets in.
And the other thing is you can't just go shooting people because they put their hands on you.
I'm about to say.
You know what I mean?
I mean, look at, we have, believe it or not, here in Abilene, we have a pretty good amount of homeless people.
Yeah.
Sometimes those people aren't in their right minds.
Oh, I got one for you yesterday. Yeah. This is kind of, to me, it's interesting, and I found some humor in it. But, you and I, the neighborhood that we live is close to, it's blown up,
stop.
The bus stop and the Walmart and everything. And so the other day, there's this guy that's a regular. He's the guy. Sometimes he's got the goatee.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's got a beard. He's always walking around. Anyways, I've never had contact with him, but I'm in the Allsups the other day.
Oh yeah.
And he walks in like he owns the place. Says, hey Jerry, give me a burrito ready. I'm gonna go to the liquor store. I'll be right back. And somebody had just given him $20 out there when he was panhandling, and he went right into the Allsup, said, get my lunch ready, going to the liquor store.
Congratulations, whoever gave him that $20.
Yeah, way to go. You just helped out the society. Great job. God. But anyway, it was just really funny to see the aftermath of when, you help. And then he's hitting the liquor store.
I remember I was one night I was at that bus stop because working with Beyond Trafficking, I have to, take people up there to put them on buses to get them wherever we're gonna go sometimes. And so I was there one night, and there's this lady, the same lady that I almost hit, and then ran into a pole at Walmart, avoiding her, that threw the beer bottle and cracked her window and all that. Anyways, the whole thing. The same lady. Month prior to her assaulting my vehicle, I pull in there and get her a couple burritos and some water and stuff like that. Anyway, so I go to the bus stop. And I'm sitting there, and I remember messaging the board that's for BT, and I was like, I think I just performed a miracle. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, just like in the Bible. I performed a miracle. I did it. Like, what'd you do? And I was like, well, it was with also burritos and water. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, this lady was in a wheelchair. Now she's up, walking way over here.
All these
people sitting around in their wheelchair, and everyone's like, oh, they're handicapped. No, they're not.
No, they're
just
not.
Trying to pull at your heartstrings.
They're just shaking you down, public.
Yeah.
So, do good things or whatever, but that's funny. What do you think about all the shopping carts that are littered all over the place from Walmart?
I have a line down my truck.
From the shopping cart.
I'm telling you right now, this is green light on you if I see you leaving a shopping cart out. Green light, for real, sir. That's gang talk. No, I'm just kidding. So no, it frustrates me to a level that I cannot see straight, man.
Do you think that Walmart is such a large corporation that they don't care that these people are taking their shopping carts? Because they have these, do they care?
I think they do. I just think, so this is the problem with Walmart. Walmart, if you're listening, this is my problem. They have security there, but they can't do anything.
Right.
They have employees there, but they can't do anything. You can walk out of Walmart with a 90-inch TV. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Chances are they're not even going to press charges.
Right.
Because
it's not worth their time.
They're a gazillion-dollar corporation that doesn't care.
Their losses don't matter.
They don't care about whatever.
So the shopping carts littered.
So we have literally created that monster.
Yeah.
I'm one of you. I'm not saying we as society have created the Walmart
the monster of Walmart.
And so I don't think they
don't give a damn. So we just are littered. It's like more and more looking like a post-apocalyptic wasteland
really
around
does.
these areas.
And I wish that, I don't know, like we had an incident at a local gym here where we had to call law enforcement. We had a bunch of people camping right there on our property.
Oh.
So we tell them, law enforcement shows up, and they're like, well, we got to give them 17 warnings before we can do, So anyways, finally, we got to the point to where we could press charges and put criminal trespassing on them.
Yeah.
But it took and it frustrates me because, and I know I'm not blaming PD, but I am blaming, first of all, city council. No, I'm just kidding. I am blaming lawmakers and stuff like that. Let's lay off the whole criminals or innocent little beings and this and that. Let's start kind of.
Well, when it comes to private,
something to help these local businesses.
When it comes to private property and trespassing and squatting, it should be cut and dry.
I mean, it's a simple deal.
Come on, man.
You're not supposed to be there. This is my property. Get off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then if you do anything to get them off,
God help you.
Then you're done.
You're done. It's over. They'll seize everything.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like building a shop without a permit. God help you. You do that.
Yeah. So
you'd be better off being a homeless person, walking into a house, stealing shit. Excuse my language, stealing crap, walking out of that house, and then they're like, well, we can't really do anything because they're homeless.
But that's progress.
That is kind of progress, I guess.
That's progress.
But you know what I mean, defend my property.
Then you're in
I'm
trouble.
going before
the standards
12.
are.
I'm standing before 12 of my peers.
Yeah.
To answer for, defending my own property.
Yeah. Speaking of, there is a city council election coming up soon.
There is, and I encourage anyone to run.
Yeah,
that's not who is there.
Yeah, and honestly, it's funny, on the Travie Wavy podcast before this one, he's had on. Well, I think he just had one.
We had
guy.
The lady and then the guy, right? That lady
the lady was a former city council woman.
That's right.
And anyways, so if you're in Abilene, your vote matters.
Yeah.
Because only, give or take, there's only about 3,500 people that vote in this city that
determines the direction of our city.
Yeah, we have 20,000 people here, and only about roughly 4,000 people vote locally.
Ridiculous.
And that means that if you do vote and you want somebody to win and you tell a couple of buddies, then that person will win. So anyways, good luck, but politicians on the city level.
So here's my plug for
jackasses.
We all want to sit around and be keyboard warriors about the presidency and this and that and that. You know what will make change? Local elections.
Yep,
that's
right.
what affects your life there. The national level, yes, it does, but at the state and local levels, that's how you make the change that transfers up.
That's your grassroots.
You know what I mean? That is your grassroots right there. So all you people out there wanting to whatever, go vote in your local elections. Get somebody in there that you can see will do good in the way that you feel like you want it.
Yes.
And then maybe we can start making some changes around here.
Absolutely. So get out and vote for this election for whoever you think is the least amount of a jackass, because guess what? They probably all are. Anyways, that's our shots fired for today. Now let's get into
AI. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. There's not a whole lot of news on the front of our artificial intelligence for you guys this week. We'll save that for next week. But because as we wrap the show up, we want to kind of, as a little bit of a, how do I say? It basically,
respect,
like a appreciation of Val Kilmer's life in movies and in film.
Such a
and so many great movies.
Films.
And so why are movies in particular so important to me and to you? And I'll ask you the same question. But for me, it's very much like these are, and the movies of the time period, I think when we grew up as kids are so important. And I know that we're not the only people that feel this way.
No.
But there are people that can kind of take or leave movies. They don't really care.
Yeah.
But like for me,
Not me.
as these as these kind of these figureheads of
our time, or we time
are getting old
Yeah.
and passing away.
Yeah.
It's just kind of heavy. It's like, wow,
It
you know,
is.
like, so Val Kilmer, the most recent one that we
Yeah.
lost the other day. How do you rank? How can you rank Val Kilmer movies? Well, we can't really rank them because they're all so very good. There's some that
all of
aren't as good, but one that stuck out to me that I thought about the other day when I was like, this dude's been in so many movies that I forget some of them.
I know.
One of them, do you remember Thunderheart?
Yes, that's the race movie, right?
Yes.
Yes, I do remember.
How about that one?
That's a great movie.
And then was it
what's the one where he's a PI or not a PI? He's like a hitman or something like that, and the guy writing the story goes with him. Is it Kiss?
Oh yeah,
Bang Bang.
Kiss
Remember
Kiss
that
Bang
one?
Bang.
Kiss Bang Bang. Whatever. Remember that one?
That was like 2005.
Yeah, a little bit older, but you know what I mean.
But that was a solid
the Saint,
movie.
You mentioned that last
Yeah,
night.
The Saint.
We were having a discussion about the
Jeez,
old.
man. The Saint
Val
was
Kilmer.
one of those movies that I just watched over and over as a kid.
That's my crush. Is
all of his disguises.
she was in
Her name is Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth
Don't ask
Shue,
me how I know
and
that.
she was in Karate Kid, and that was my first
Oh yeah,
crush.
that's
And she's
crazy.
been in a
That's
lot of
right. She
random
was in a
stuff
lot of
since
that
then.
stuff.
The Babysitter, do you remember that? Or Adventures of Babysitting?
Uh huh.
I don't know. That's one of my all-time favorite kid classics when I was a little wee lad.
Uh huh.
And she was just, I remember being like, Mom, Dad, why can't I have her as a babysitter? Like, that's the love of my life.
That's
No,
funny.
But Saint, excellent.
The Saint is
movie.
excellent.
He disguises himself, the whole cold fusion theory thing, like everything. Just such a solid, it had a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
Really good movie.
And then the other one, and then we can't not mention Tombstone. I think his portrayal
Tombstone
of Doc Holliday is
By far.
one of the best acting jobs I've ever seen.
I don't think that will ever be outdone.
No,
Ever.
you can't do that. You
I
can't
just
outdo
can't.
that. And then you've got
So good.
the other one.
I watched Ghost in the Darkness yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. Ghost in the Darkness.
That is my. I don't want to say it's my favorite Val Kilmer movie, but it's one of my top, like, rewatch all the time movies of Val Kilmer.
And it's still good.
that movie.
It like holds up really well.
It's so cool to me. And it was based on true story, the whole Lions, the Ghost in the Darkness. You can go see him in the Chicago Film Museum, Big Frank. Head on over there. When we go see him, we need to go over there, check out the lions. These two lions killed, I may be off on this, 200 people.
Yeah, like it was a lot.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
Yeah.
research lions, that does not happen.
Yeah.
These things were truly like demons or something. Like, it's crazy.
For real.
It's such a good movie.
So,
So cool.
let's see here. What was so Willow.
Willow.
Great film.
Hello.
And apparently I learned the other day
Yeah.
doing some Googling that's how he met his first wife.
Yes. That
She was the
co-starred
lady.
with him, right? She was the
Yep.
yeah.
She
what I
was the
thought.
young lady. So, man, I'm basically going to go on a Val Kilmer movie marathon for the
Okay,
next, like,
here's
week.
one for you. Gosh, dang it. Oh, he has the sickest tattoo in this, and he's a jazz player.
A jazz player.
Oh my God, how did I just forget this? His wife, anyways, it's all about drugs, and he infiltrates the drug world to
Oh.
avenge his wife. It is one of the coolest movies
Okay.
you will ever watch.
Look it
and
up.
It's basically a whole revenge plot.
Uh-huh.
And I had the name, and forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, for not writing things down. I need to get a notepad like Ben and write these things down when they come to me.
Yes.
But oh man, I just had it. But he's got the tattoo on his back as of the last place that him and his wife were together.
Oh, okay.
So cool.
That's interesting.
Such a cool deal.
So he also has a memoir, a book that he
Yep.
wrote called "I'm Your Huckleberry,"
Yeah.
and I want to read that. It's basically his life story and his in his words. And
I
he
would
also has
be getting that.
a documentary called With Love, Val, which I watched, and it came out a couple years ago.
Is that the one that you told me about, right?
I think so,
I
yeah.
watched that. I'm pretty
that
sure
one's
that's
great.
the one. He'd already had the throat, and
Yes.
it was just rough seeing him like that for me. Like, he was
Yeah, it
such
kind
a
of sucks.
like man's man of, like, you know, just cool dude, and he still is. I mean, he still was all the way up to the end. But I
Right.
just mean, like, seeing what that does to someone.
Yeah, that's
You know
the
what I mean?
worst.
That cancer is just
Yeah.
terrible. All cancer.
So, rest in peace to Val Kilmer. We're going to
Yeah.
be watching some of his movies throughout the next probably
And
month.
I know we talked about this here a while back. I rewatched a bunch of Gene Hackman stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So cool to
Gene
go back
Hackman,
and
big
reminisce
one.
about these guys and be
Yeah.
like, golly, I forgot he was in that. He was in that too. Oh man,
Runaway Jury
Like,
is
Runaway
one.
Jury.
That's so
Solid.
good.
Solid.
So the movie that I'm going to break down a movie that I watched
We got-
last night, The Last Duel.
Oh yeah.
You know, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I tried to watch it when it first kind of came out.
I need to rewatch it because I think I did the same thing.
It was good. It's kind of hard to watch some of these scenes where women are being done badly. You know, I don't like watching that.
No, I don't either.
You know, and so there's quite a bit of that in there, unfortunately. But at the same time, that's the kind of things that did happen and do happen, and I guess got to stomach that because it does happen. But on the sword fighting end of it, there was some pretty cool battle stuff in there.
There is
The actual final duel was pretty well done.
pretty good.
So
Pretty good sword play.
I was pretty happy with that. And a movie that I'm going to watch tonight is going to be Joan of Arc or The Messenger
Ooh,
from
the Messenger.
1999.
I forgot about that's a rough one too.
Yeah, 1999.
That's a tough one, Ben. I remember
Mila
like,
Jovovich.
crying
That's a good one.
over
So
that movie.
I'm gonna
Right,
watch
That's another
that.
true story.
Yep.
Right.
1999, The Messengers. And then we've got some swords for you before we wrap it up. First of all, Blake finally brought his, let's grab that,
Yeah. Let's get it going.
the
here.
fencing sword, the long sword that we're going to start our journey into the historical European martial arts world. We have all of our safety gear minus we need to get the canvas chest protector probably because I don't think the one that I have is going to fit you. But, so anyways, this thing
I'm
is
not sure how to
cool.
take that, Benjamin.
It has a blunt tip, so you can still probably hurt and stab
I
somebody
imagine
with
it would
this.
hurt to get.
Yeah, it would not be fun to get whacked or
get
stabbed
jabbed.
with this thing.
You know what I mean?
But this is like actual weight. This is proper weight, proper length. It's pretty incredible, really well crafted and designed. And this is the stuff that these guys actually fence with and use. And it's got some heft to it. So we're gonna have a lot of fun getting into this whole game. And so I'm excited about that. And then I brought one of my. This is a lot of people historically they argue about ninjas and ninjutsu and
Yeah.
everything like that. But in my opinion, and I have studied the art of ninpo ninjutsu whenever I was a wee lad, or not wee, but from the time I was like 15 to 18 years old, I got really into it. And this is pretty much a close quarters combat CQB sword from back in the day. And this is made by Hanwei Steel. And this is like the real deal.
Steel.
I have like cut many a coconut with this thing. And if I needed one sword and I had to go do work, I would probably take this sword. It is just the perfect blade length. But it's still. Yeah, this would
That's
be
the
it.
one.
This would be the one sword that I would take. I can work really quickly with it. You can be very effective with one hand or two if you need a little extra leverage. But this thing's pretty much awesome.
I like that.
And that is like historically as close as you can get accurate to a assassin type Japanese blade, what they would have and what they would make for themselves. And like I say, there's a lot of folklore and arguments on the historical accuracy of ninjas, but I will let you know they were real. and they did exist. And there is many. There are many artifacts from that time, whether it be the claws, the tabby boot, spikes, all the different things. So, and swords. There are, swords that have been discovered from those times. Anyway, so that is my sword of the day. Blake has his sword of the day. And this sucker is sharp. Now,
Benjamin.
Yes.
The Salton Sea.
Excuse me?
The Salton Sea is the name of the movie.
The
I want you to
Salton
watch
Sea?
before next week.
Is this early?
That is
what
a
year?
2002.
2002.
Yeah.
The
I
Salt
just realized
and Sea.
Val Kilmer was in. Do you remember The Island of Dr. Monroe?
Oh, absolutely.
Crazy awesome movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, I forgot about that. Heat, of course.
With
we all know
Marlon
about that one.
Brando.
True Romance. Do you remember him in True Romance? Super good movie.
He played Elvis.
Elvis. There you go.
Huh.
My first movie. What was your first Val Kilmer movie
That I saw
that
ever?
you saw ever that you can recall?
It would have probably had to been Tombstone.
I think so. Okay.
Because
okay.
I know that he was in tons of movies, or it could have been Top Gun, actually. I can't remember. I think Top Gun came first.
Top Gun did come
So
first. Yeah.
I'm going to have to say it was Top Gun. I don't think, because I know he had some like kind of comedy, like goofy movies that he when he was
like
real young.
Real Genius.
I
remember
never
that. That was kind of. I don't remember seeing that.
So what was your first movie?
Mine was actually, believe it or not, The Doors.
Oh.
He played Jim Morrison, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
Sad story. I don't know why. Like, when a band has a sad story, chances are they're going to be my favorite.
Yeah, well, it's
I don't
interesting.
know why. Their music is
It's interesting.
so real to me. But anyways, The Doors, he was great in that movie. He played Jim Morrison. He was amazing. I just remember it came on television. I watched it. And then I remember seeing Top Gun. And Top Gun came out well before this.
Right.
But I remember my dad, I was like, hey, that's that guy that played, Jim Morrison. And my dad's like, yeah, it's Val Kilmer, And I remember that was my introduction basically to Val Kilmer. Then it was like Willow was not long after that.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of took off from there. So I remember back then in our day, we had the old Blockbuster.
Yes.
So I just went on this whole binge
I can still
of
smell it.
Oh, God, dude. It was
Sometimes
so
I can smell
good.
Blockbuster. And I miss it.
it so bad.
And it's so funny the things that we miss.
Yeah, The Salt in the Sea. I highly recommend anybody watch that. It's an
Salt in
excellent
the
flick. So good.
Cool, man.
Good.
Well, we're gonna. I'm gonna watch that tonight. I'll watch that tonight.
There
The
you go.
Salt in the Sea, and I will postpone The Messenger until the night after that. And then we have D. Grant's book. We'll plug it one more time.
Yeah.
The Resplendent Window. D. Grant is quite creative. So
you're gonna tell us what the
that's right.
Is that the word synopsis?
Yes, synopsis. So
of the movie.
it says, embark on a journey into the heart of consciousness and self-discovery with this powerful and gripping anthology of spiritual and metaphysical short stories, parables by D. Grant Smith. From talking animals to conscious spaceships, a diverse case of characters grapple with the mysteries of life, challenging readers to question their assumptions about reality, time, life, and the nature of self. D. Grant weaves captivating tales filled with symbolism and open endings, inviting you to imagine your own conclusions and see your own story in new ways. Discover the power of stories you tell yourself and the beliefs you hold as you explore the interconnectedness of all things. Uncover the divine in the everyday and awaken to the infinite potential within this exciting first volume of conscious storytelling. I can tell you this will be very interesting, folks. You should really pick up a copy on Amazon. You might want to eat a gummy before you start reading this. I'm not sure.
Sounds like a gummy book to me.
But anyways, that's
animals?
Cool. We're excited for D. Grant. He's a great friend.
Good job. How many books has D. Grant wrote now?
I know it's a few. I know it's a few. I would be wrong if I said how many.
Put you on the spotlight there.
Yeah, right. But I know it's definitely a few, and this looks like volume 1 of who knows how many more. But I'm excited to see that.
The new Harry Potter.
Yeah, right. The new
kidding.
J.K. Rowling. But anyways, that's another one. I got to see all the Harry Potters for the 5th time.
Have you ever seen that?
I've seen them all.
Oh, I was saying, you've never seen them all. I've
seen them
all
like
so many
4 times.
I've basically had them memorized.
So cool.
I love those.
Well, thanks to Sammy, our technical producer extraordinaire, and the Majestic Coffee Shop. Come get you some coffee.
Or tea.
As
I just had.
Blake just learned
my
there's
cup
tea
of
in this world.
Good tea. I wish
Wars
I could tell
have
you
been
what it
fought
was.
over the
I don't
tea.
remember.
And this has been the breakdown episode, I think maybe 26 or 27. And Big Frank, we lost him on the call, but that's okay. I'm sure everything's fine.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get him next week. Enjoy some NASCAR this weekend. We've got the crawfish boil at the
Final Four Showdown coming up. And the crawfish bowl at Ice House.
Ice House. Yeah, I always want to call it Lone
Lone
Star.
around the corner.
But anyways,
One way.
watch the Travie Wavy podcast with D. Grant Smith and his new book, The Resplendent Window, and get you some historical European fencing swords and come get some. Come join us. Come battle us. Anyways, Sammy, you could take us out whenever you're ready. And have a great day.
Delicious tea, by the way.
Delicious
My compliments
tea.
to the barista.
To the barista.
I've heard you can, Sammy was telling me you can just put hot water back in there